Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Dave Bergstein, and I will be a presenter for this session, Global Trends in Accounting. Welcome to the session. This session will update and educate on the future of accounting. You'll walk away with knowledge in what to do to stay relevant and successful in the field of accounting and bookkeeping. Items to be discussed will be a little bit of everything as we relate to the future of accounting. Hopefully by attending this session, you'll be able to understand the tools and processes that you'll have to utilize to stay relevant, understand why advisory services will be the prevalent difference in who will be successful, and we'll talk a little bit about identifying what an anchor platform is for client accounting services and tax. A little bit about me. I'm a digital evangelist at Intuit. I have my own small little CPA practice that I'm letting slide as my clients get older. I like to consider myself a millennial in a baby boomer's body. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been on the Accounting Today top 100, 2 out of the last, 5 years. Been recognized as a brand ambassador for Enterprise Worldwide. I am a member of the FICPA, Florida Institute of Certified Public Accountants, and I'll be chairing the FICPA Business Tech section this year. How am I connected to Canada? I do a little work for Intuit Canada, and way back when the internet was just starting, I worked for a small company in Ottawa called Bell Canada. And that's when I first came into touch with another small outfit called Tim Horton, who replaced what I was using in the past known as Dunkin' Donuts. So I'm very familiar with Canada. I've been back and forth. And when we talk about the future of accounting, we will move forward and see what the next adventure brings us. If I talk too fast, I'm originally from a place called Brooklyn, New York. In order to receive CPD credits, you must stay in the session for the duration of the training. The session is eligible for 1 hour CPD. CPD certificates are emailed directly to you within 4 weeks of the conference date, the same email address you used to register. And that's a little bit about progress in the future of accounting. We used to get our CPE certificates and CPD certificates by mail. Now everything's electronic. And as we move forward and we talk about the future, I'm putting something from the past on my head. If anyone remembers the real old days of accounting, accountants and bookkeepers wore green eye shades. No longer a thing of the future. The future of accounting is maybe working remotely, maybe working from home, maybe a little Google. Always seems to be a lot of Zoom, and the Zoom security seems to be getting better. GoToMeeting, Slack, Skype, Blue Jeans. And if you have Office 365, you're most likely using Teams for meetings. So the world is changing. I've been working remotely pretty much for 30 years now at this point in time. So I'm used to dealing with looking at people on the screen. I prefer to have a face-to-face lunch in person, but I do have face-to-face lunches with Zoom, and gets a little bit interesting. As we move forward and think of the future, again, whether you're a bookkeeper, an accountant, a certified public accountant, we are not going away. But what we do is going to change. When January, February came around, we were all set, getting ready to do heavy taxes, and suddenly the world changed. And from this world changing, things are changing. Firms in a post-coronavirus world, according to Accounting Today, which is probably one of the most read publications both in Canada and the U.S. From people. It's a free publication. I read a number of them, so I strongly recommend you look at Accounting Today if you want to know what's going on in the world. CPA Practice Advisor is another free publication you can get online. That tells you a lot about what's going on. Insightful Accountant is another one that talks about what's going on in the world, not just U.S.-wise. So there's a lot going on. And what I expect after this post-coronavirus pandemic is a lot of changes. Firms that aren't adapting are not going to be around as we move forward. So when we see what's really going on, several core factors have been in place. The average baby boomer was and still is about 65 years old. No matter what happens with baby boomers, there's always someone turning 65. And small to mid-sized firms have been struggling to have the same technological advantages as the larger firms. I'm a solo practitioner, but I am more adept at moving technology forward than a super large firm. You know, you take the case of a super large firm, medium firm, they're like a larger ship. They steer it and it's hard to turn. You take a motorboat or a skidoo and you can turn it quickly. And this is what gives us as accountants and bookkeepers the opportunity to increase the value of our firm. You'll have in my handouts these links. And if you look at those links, you'll be able to read what it is, where my source knowledge is coming from, and also how to increase the value of your firm. I work with a lot of bookkeepers who have their own practices, and they're moving from compliance to advisory services also. Very little difference between the bookkeeping world, the accounting world, and the CPA world, other than CPAs can do an audit and do the attest function. But I, as a solo practitioner, have done 2 audits in my life and stopped doing them. I'd rather be client accounting advisory services, which is the advisory service end. And when I do that, I'm doing taxes for the clients that are coming to me. In some cases, I go get help from other people. So the playing field is leveled as to what to expect in the future. You know, I look at the U.S., 44,000 accounting firms. The number one firm has about 19 billion and 65,000 people. You look down on the last bullet there, 43,000 firms fall into the small firm category in the U.S. Most of these firms are very small with less than 4 or 5 people, a lot of solo practitioners. And then you move on and you look at bookkeeping after that. You got accountants, and then you have bookkeepers. And then you look at Canada. There are over 210,000 members of the Canadian CPA who hold the Canadian CPA designation. Over 100,000 bookkeepers working in Canada. Plenty of business for everyone because everyone has a different look at it. You know, and if you look at the firms, besides taking the big 4 into consideration, I've listed a number of firms here that comes from Corporate Finance Institute. Saying, hey, these are the highlighted boutique accounting firms in Canada. And kind of interesting, each of these firms is connected to an association or a worldwide association. But when you look at the numbers of top revenue, and this also comes out of the publication, you got your large firms, but I look at them, I look at some of their emails, I subscribe to their blogs to see what's going on in the world. But again, as a solo small practitioner, it's all different to me. What's different to me is what you're seeing here. First, I'll show the U.S., because some of you might be doing U.S. business, and then I'll show you Canada. There are 30.2 million small, medium-sized businesses in the U.S., representing 99% of all businesses. 60% of the small businesses are not knowledgeable in accounting and finance. Same applies if I'm looking at the Canadian market. 65.7% of the new jobs have people that don't get paid, and only 19% get paid because some of them are contractors. 61% struggle with cash flow. I don't care if you're a bookkeeper, accountant, CPA. We need to advise our clients. If we're selling ourselves, if we're talking about what we do, when someone comes up to us and says, hey, I need someone to help me, tell me what you do. Whether you're a bookkeeper, accountant, CPA, you shouldn't tell them what you do. You should say, first, you tell me, what are you looking for? What are you struggling with? What do you need help with? And I'd say more than 61% of the time, they're going to say, hey, I need help with cash flow. I need help with making payments. I need to move myself along. And 52% of these small to medium businesses have forgone a sale or project of greater than $10,000 due to cash flow. That's what we can help them with. You know, I'm used to the old days of doing financial statements, bank rec, sales tax. Now I use tools from QBO, from Intuit, that automate those processes for me. And then when I look at Canada, a lot less businesses, but there's a lot less accountants and bookkeepers. And these statistics come out of the Canadian statistics information. 1.15 million businesses, but 97.9% were small businesses. So that says, hey, there's opportunity for me as a solo practitioner as well as a large firm. Because I deal with, in the US, I deal with a lot of the top 100 firms. I also deal with the top 100 in Canada. They're going after the same small business that we're going after because they're using automation. But when you look at where the businesses are in Canada, more than half of Canada's small employer businesses concentrated heavily in Ontario and Quebec. And you look at the numbers, 417,742 in Ontario. And 236,705 Quebec. That's more. We're up over half of the small businesses. A small business in Canada, by the way, is defined as a Canadian-based corporation with fewer than 100 employees and under 500,000 in annual income. A lot of businesses. 98.2% have fewer than 100. They are the engine of the economy, and the success is vital to Canadians' prosperity. What does that mean? It means they need accountants, bookkeepers to help them do what they're doing, to help them be more prosperous and know what's going on. Small businesses, I said, in Canada, employed almost 69.7%. There's a lot of opportunity for us as accountants. And you can read these statistics yourself. I know there's a lot of words. I'm not looking to read them all to you. Where are the businesses in Canada? 90% of the exporting companies have fewer than 100 employees, but produce 25% of the total value of Canadian exports. The largest number of small to medium enterprises are in wholesale trade retail. Great opportunity for me as an accountant or as a bookkeeper to do the work for them. Fewer than 1 out of 4 Canadians, small medium enterprise, invest in research and development. But here's the bad part. Only half of the new firms, 51%, survive their 5th year of operation. That's why they need our advisory services and our help. That's key to doing that. When I look at global trends in accounting, I hear the new word that's being used by every moderator, speaker, every webinar I go on. We have to be able to pivot. Everything is about pivoting now. We don't know what we don't know. What I mean by that is there's new applications, new tools, new automation, new megatrends coming every year. If I look at what CPA.com, which is the marketing arm of the AICPA, provides information to CPA Canada and to the AICPA, and what it's telling me, okay, what's happening? Conversational AI. Do you ever call someone, a business up, and you think you're talking to someone? You're talking to a robot. You're talking to a bot. A lot about virtual assistants. Blockchain was on the rise. It's now coming out of the trowel of disillusionment. Bill Gates says it takes a while for things to work. As a solo practitioner, I understand why blockchain. I don't utilize any of the blockchain tools or applications out there. I understand what they are, and as they move into the financial arena, I'll utilize them. But I do have clients that need to know about blockchain. Why? Because they're in the logistics business. They need to know that blockchain is a great way to have an immutable tool where they can track where someone is shipping, where it's going, what step of the process it's in, because blockchain allegedly can't be changed. So a lot of help out there. This is 2019 megatrends. If I scroll over to 2020, which came out last November, and they'll come out with a new one this December, you can see how blockchain is moving around a little. But what are people really working with? What are they looking at? Predictive analysis, being in the cloud, OCR, being able, optical character recognition. Things are constantly changing and moving. But to me, the future of accounting is what we're looking at on this particular screen. I'm sure most of you have multiple monitors. 3 is the new norm. I myself have 3 most of the time, and every once in a while I plug in my iPad, so I have 4 screens. The future of accounting will be me sitting in front of my screen, looking at all my clients on different screens and looking at key performance indicators, looking at, okay, let me see, oh, this client came up red, their working capital ratio is low. Oh, this client is good, their days to receivable is good. This client's bad, the quick asset ratio doesn't appear good. They don't appear to be heavily liquid. So what we're going to be looking at is green, red, blue, yellow, whatever lights you want to turn on to monitor our clients. Of course, when you think about it, and I also teach college accounting. When someone comes into the first year accounting class now, what do they say? I say, why are you here? I'm a finance major, I have to be here. I'm a marketing major, I have to be here. I'm a business major, I have to be here. Every once in a while, probably in the beginning classes, I hear 2 out of 3, 2 out of about 25 say they want to be accountants. Actually, my classes are good. By the end, I get that number up to 10 in a lot of cases for the class. Because I tell them accounting is not about math. I tell them accounting is helping people be more liquid, solvent, and profitable. And then I show them how to do a journal entry. I show them, here's a transaction, a sale is made. You make a journal entry, you put it in a journal, you put it in a ledger, you post to a trial balance, you do a worksheet. And then I take them and I show them whatever the textbook is using. In my case, and I didn't pick the textbook, they're using QBO as a companion with the textbook. I show them how to do the same thing in an automated feature and say, here's where we really start with the trial balance, with the worksheet, and we advise the clients on what to do to be more profitable. I see accounting switching from financial to managerial because it's all about helping people make real-time decisions. And how do you do that? You do that by automating your practices and your processes. So the 2020 vision, and you'll have links out here that you can go to, Journal of Accountancy, which will point out what they see as the transformations. And every source I go to has a different transformation on tap. But it gets the simple. Accountants have heard for the past few years that technologies are going to continue to rise. But CPAs get disillusioned because it takes time. We're always overestimating the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that's going to happen in the next 10. Really what our whole process is about now is, and this I stole from Barry Melanson, the head of the AICPA, worldwide organization, Association of Independent Certified Public Accountants, as opposed to the American Institute. And he says, we have to learn, relearn, unlearn, and learn again. And when you think about it, the hardest part of change right now is if you're not a millennial in a baby boomer's body, you're set on what you're doing. This is the process. This is what we do at our accounting firm. But this pandemic has drastically changed what people do because people who were solely in a desktop environment and couldn't communicate with the clients found it difficult to do any work, from the March time frame to even now, depending what's opening up and where you're located. But firms that had transformed to the cloud and were technologically advanced, where people were actually working from home to some extent or working remotely, they benefited because they can help their clients and give advice and do things while they were trapped in their own homes and couldn't move around. So the trends from an AICPA executive roundtable, there's going to be disruptive technology, whether it be blockchain, whether it be artificial intelligence, whether it be machine learning. That's what's going to affect us. AI to voice activated will provide new capabilities. I've got Alexa trained to recognize my voice as opposed to Katie's voice. So who's giving the instructions? As an increasing number of tasks are automated, CPAs, accountants, and bookkeepers will change. The changes are reshaping our profession. It's great to be young right now, to be able to take advantage of technology. All I know is my grandchildren are raised in a totally digital environment. They know the digital phone. They know the iPad. Could be Android. I happen to be an Apple family. So what do we see happening as things move on? By the year 2026, the global market for accounting software will have a value of $11.8 billion. The arrival of cloud computing or cloud accountancy has been highly transformative in how accountants work on a day-to-day basis and communicate with their clients. By allowing accountants to perform accounting tasks from any location, as well as the ability to deliver financial information and reports through the cloud, has changed what we do. And again, nobody wants a financial statement 3 months after the closing. They want managerial accounting reports on a dashboard almost on a daily basis. You look at what QuickBooks is doing with cash flow reports and cash flow tools. It's changing the way we do. So if you look at megatrends and you look at different ones, in this particular one, Forrester says changing the way people work. A massive 73% said they believe they should be able to accomplish any financial task on a mobile device, and that digital should be woven through the entire customer experience. You know, hold this little device up. I've got the bigger iPhone. What does that mean? It means this is what I use for almost everything. And new clients, what do they want? They want to be able to see everything in a mobile device, whether it be an iPad or whether it be a tablet. I work a little differently. You know, as an accountant or a bookkeeper, do I have to do all the work? I taught one of my HVAC contractors how to do an estimate on his tablet. He told me afterwards he gets more business than his competitors because when he does an estimate, he gets their email address, and when he leaves, he presses the button. Whereas most of his competitors use a pencil and paper and don't give the estimate back that quickly. Some don't give it back at all. And he says when he emails the estimate, typically when someone says yes, he's back in his mobile app, QBO, press the button, turns the estimate into a sales invoice. That's not really doing accounting. And that's where I see the difference between me being an outsourced accountant or an outsourced bookkeeper being someone who's doing advisory services where I teach them how to use the tools that are out there. Take Subway Shop, for instance. The subways everywhere. What do they have? A point of sale system. You teach someone to set up the right chart of accounts. You teach someone to set up the right tools. So when they take someone's credit card or PayPal, it puts it in the system. It debits it, credits it, you know, money in, money out. It puts it into QBO, puts it into the ledgers, puts it into the trial balance. Makes my life a lot easier in being able to look at dashboards. I like to give my clients a business snapshot that automatically comes out of QBO. It shows them what the AR is and their AP. That's what they mostly look at. Got the graphs on where business is coming from. I don't care if it's 100% accurate, and I tell them it may not be till I look at their books. But they get an idea of where they're at, and it keeps them closer connected to me, and then we'll either do a FaceTime call, or I prefer Zoom more than FaceTime now, depending on the amount of security I need. When QuickBooks Online reached 3.6 million subscribers worldwide, the end of 2018, over 5 million now, what was kind of interesting, online subscribers were first-time users. It wasn't people transitioning from desktop to online. What's happening now, pandemic-wise and prior to it, more and more of the accounting firms, the bookkeeping firms, where they're used to doing things a certain way, saying, hey, we got to switch. And they realize QBO is not QB Desktop, and QBO has certain features that QB Desktop doesn't have. They're moving in that direction. And as we move forward with these global trends, artificial intelligence, 58% of accountancy professionals are expecting to automate tasks with using AI solutions in the next 3 years. That makes me, small practitioner, accountant, doing a lot of the same work that the businesses would do through their bookkeeper or through a bookkeeping firm. But now as I add advisory services, it changes the picture. So real-time connections is what people want. My largest client, which is a Summer Beach Club in New York, is having all sorts of issues with opening up. They happen to be in Florida, the owners. They stay down here because they can't open up. And we do Zoom and FaceTime calls on strategy, on what to do, how to open up, how to get 50%. They can't open their restaurant, but they can do takeout. Well, they're putting chairs and tables around the beach, which will give them the same 100% occupancy outside where they would have been limited to 50% inside. So I don't know what the rules in each area are, but think about how you can help your clients. And think about digital signatures. You know, our clients can't come into the office now. Use digital signature software. It makes life easier. It allows you to communicate and work with them no matter where they are. This next report, which you'll have access to by clicking on the PDF link when you get it, it'll open up a report what AI CPA says is on the horizon. What's on the horizon is our profession, the bookkeeping profession, the accounting profession is changing. And actually, what's becoming important is this lifetime learning. It's about getting no longer are we going to, I'm not going to college anymore, but I'm taking digital courses online and I get a badge that say I am blockchain knowledgeable, or I am taking a digital accounting course to say I know digital processing. I actually took the RPA course. That's the one I did take, teaching me how to do robotic process automation, which is simply writing some scripts. If you're used to using Excel and using macros, RPA is nothing more than automating tasks that we did by hand. So lots of reports out there, and then I look at, again, top trends. I showed us some others, but I look at automation and AI be the biggest thing that's at client accounting and advisory services. I don't say CIS services. I say client accounting and advisory. Automation, AI, blockchain, cloud, data analysis, because it's all about us doing advisory services. And there are tools and ecosystem tools out there. E-commerce was kind of interesting. I read a report, I just think last week, that I'm trying to think which one it was. Papa John's and Domino's business is soaring, whereas Pizza Hut is going the opposite direction. Why? Because from a e-commerce standpoint, Papa John's and Domino's were geared to takeout, were geared to delivery, were geared to apps, whereas a lot of people would go into Pizza Hut and sit down. So models are changing. We need to help our clients do more e-commerce so they can be more broadly connected to other people. And when I look at automation and AI, look what I see in the future accounting study. And this is from a futurist. In our upcoming research report, we expect that by 2020, accounting tasks, but also tax, payroll, audit-based technology will be fully automating using AI-based technologies, which will disrupt the accounting industry in a way it was never happened in the last 500 years. And again, this gives us our opportunity. Actually, I'll read a quote I have here. This is from Dan Burris, who's a futurist. You should look him up online. I have no connection with him. I don't get any money, so it's not a paid political ad. But I say this all the time now. Post-pandemic success will be determined by what you do now, not what you do post-pandemic. Successful bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs will be successful by what they're doing now in the ways of taking technology, automating it, using their tools, collaborating with their clients, bringing their clients closer together. So this is what's changing. And again, I can look at all different cloud providers, and even though it's a QBL conference, I like to show the fact that we've got multiple providers. From what I see, and I just talked to someone from a top 15 accounting firm, and he says he can't see anyone not using QBO because of the massive amount of users out there, the constant reinventing of Intuit from an Intuit standpoint. And when I look at Intuit and I look at you in the middle there, you could put any of the other ones in there if you want it, but it's all about choosing an anchor platform and then building ecosystem tools around it, whether it be a bill payment, a fetch it, a timesheet, payroll, expense management, cash flow, dashboards, artificial intelligence. That's truly what it's about. And when I look at QBO, and I look at QBO as the platform, I've got my ProTax. I can pull information from QBO and put it into the other applications. And I look at all the other companies copying. I happen to put up here CCH Access. They got an anchor platform, but they also have an ecosystem. I look at Thomson. They have an ecosystem. So no matter who says we got it all, nobody has it all because they built this ecosystem around it. And that's why when I look to Intuit, and I'm a little partial there, I see them constantly. I see us constantly reinventing what we're doing. So as a practitioner on one hand and an Intuit digital evangelist on the other, I think I got my apples on the right tree. According to a PwC survey, 87% of accountants and finance professionals themselves feel that accounting and tracking financials can be carried out with the help of AI and digital assistants. What does that mean to me again? Trusted advisor. Trusted advisor doesn't have a certificate and say you're a doctor, CPA. It says you're a trusted. How do you get to be a trusted advisor? By helping your clients. I'm seeing a new breed come into the business. They are CPAs, but they don't call themselves CPAs. Business coach, business mentor. Same thing for bookkeepers. Instead of saying they're a certified bookkeeper, they say we are a certified consultant, and we're going to help you. Tell me what's going on in your business. I always repeat that. Let me know what's going on. How can I help you? And I think the whole objective, truly, as we move forward in the global trend, is a comprehensive cloud platform where you never have to enter data. The data comes in automatically. Think about that. Think about attaching to QBO, a point-to-sale system that pulls the information in. Think of it, even now you can take a picture of a receipt and then use bank rules and bank feeds to get the information to go to the right spot. So as you choose an anchor platform or as a bookkeeping or an accounting firm, launch a comprehensive cloud platform. Pick your platform. Let you work with that cloud platform, which actually partners with third-party financial institutions and mega platforms to pull in W-2 information, 1099 information, brokerage information. So it pulls it into your client accounting system. It pulls it into your tax system. And as you move forward, this to me is the hot point for me moving forward. Utilize the data and AI to provide insights that allow you as accountants, bookkeepers, consultants to advise your clients. That's what my clients want. And again, this one particular client that I'm working with, I'm speaking to him twice a week right now. Does my invoice and bill show that I'm doing advisory service? Yes. I'm not paying him to do a tax. He's not paying me to do his tax return. He's not paying me to do his accounting, sales tax, payroll tax. He's paying me for advisory services. And that's what the bill is. And included in there is the delivery of a tax return, payroll tax return, and other things that we have to comply with. But what they want to hear from me, what my clients want to hear from me is, okay, you're looking at my data. What do I need to do to make more money? What do I need to do to cut costs? And that's why I say it's all managerial and real-time dashboards. And there are lots of tools out there to grasp this information. Actually, if you have Office 365, I believe you get Power BI as part of that. And you've got Power BI. It's a great way to build dashboards to help your clients see what's going on in the business. And when we look at client accounting services, which I'm really talking a lot about, and this comes from a CPA Trendline survey, and that's another good thing to sign up for. No matter where you are, whether you're a bookkeeper or an accountant, it's totally online, CPA Trendline, and you see what's going on there and what people are saying. What I like to say, 9 out of 10 firms offer client accounting services today. And notice I said I call it CAAS. When the survey was taken, it was CAAS, Client Accounting and Advisory Services. It changes the picture. 8 in 10 are attracting new clients with client accounting and advisory services. And 8 in 10 firms firm, it creates new opportunities. What I've seen a lot of accounting firms do, and I've advised firms that are bigger than mine, whether they be bookkeeping or accounting, participate with an incubator or tech center or a new innovation center where new businesses are coming together. They're in all the cities, and say you want to be the consultant to help their new businesses be successful. And what you do is now we're doing webinars. You do a webinar for the group or a seminar so that you get in with the group. And then as these businesses start to emerge, they'll come to you and then you can work with them. Client accounting advisory service practice are growing 2 times the medium than a regular CPA firm growth rate. Think about what's going on out there. So if I look at trends and just go right to trends, and I could have started this with, let me list 5 trends, let me list 10 trends, but I'm learning what it is, but tomorrow it'll be different. Let's make sure we understand where we're going. What are the services undertaken by accounting firms? Accounting, bookkeeping. Some people specialize in payroll. Some people specialize in compliance. Advisory is growing, and it's advisory where you have to really be at. Firms that use cloud-based accounting software by size, you can see. Large firms, medium-sized firms, and small firms. This is prior to the pandemic. I would say after the pandemic, it's a lot more. But this is why, and I'm on the Florida Institute of Certified Public Accountants list. I'm also part of NATP, and I see people looking to sell their firms. But if they're not technologically advanced, nobody really wants to buy their firm because the clients will come to you anyway when the person succumbs. And when I look at key accounting firms, again, I studied in Canada. These are what's listed as the top firms, top large firms in Canada. But as I said, most of Canadian market is serviced by small to medium firms, and there's lots of business out there in addition for these larger firms. So when you look through the trends, you pick, you choose, you see what you want to do. And as you can see, it's all about automation, rise of accounting software solutions, outsource, cloud-based, focus on data analysis. You see blockchain is still number 6, working its way up. Got to use social media. Feel free to follow me on Dave Bergstein on Twitter, at Dave Bergstein. I'm constantly publishing things I read and some things I create myself. And it's all about now, I guess, the remote setting. Some of the larger firms are having problems coming back from the pandemic. If they built an open office because they wanted everyone to be looking at everybody, they have a problem now. They got to move the desks. They got to build walls. Think about that. That was the big concept, open office architecture. Changing. More and more people will probably stay at home. 50% of accounting tasks can be automated. And again, you can read the slides on your own, but the automation is going to increase long-term, short-term. This will empower us as accountants and more solutions. The growth rate, 85% forecast for the period 2019 to 24. You're seeing things change. Outsourcing is on the rise. More and more bookkeeping and accounting firms. Actually, accounting firms are trying to compete with bookkeeping firms. Actually, a lot of accounting firms are hiring bookkeeping firms to run their outsourcing. So you're seeing mergers take place between people who've created bookkeeping firms and accounting firms. Idyllic setting for them to get together at this point in time. And cloud-based software, you pick and choose what goes into your tech stack. If I was looking at different tools, I look at what the Anchor platform says. Again, still a lot of growth, still a lot of benefit, and it's really all about advisory and data analytics as we move forward. Number of pocket wallet, blockchain wallet users in the world is going up more and more. But again, it's driven by the large firms. And they're going to get their share of that. As a solo practitioner, I'll have my time with blockchain when I feel I'm ready to work that, or that my clients need it, because I stay abreast and up on it. But none of my small to medium clients need the benefits of this at this particular point in time. How many small and medium use social media? Think about that. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Actually, it's going more and more to Instagram. And if you use an aggregator like Hootsuite, it can post on different places for you, so you're not posting the same thing on multiple platforms. And more accounting firms, and I was on a conference call last week with about 100 accounting firms. And one of the partners said, I'm doing more Zoom meetings with my clients. I'm doing lunch meetings. I actually gained 3 clients over the past 2 months by having lunch Zoom meetings and answering questions that the people found me through social media. They picked up some of the things that we posted out there. It doesn't matter bookkeeping or accounting. You can do it. And then again, as you look at leading accounting firms, whether it be U.S. or Canada, more and more pushing into advisory space. And AI is also, once again, picking up and improving. I can go on and on with the slides, but my goal of this session was to really get everyone in the audience excited about the fact that we're no longer green eye shade accountants. What we are is advisors to helping our clients be more profitable, more liquid, and more solvent. And again, everyone employs people at home, but this pandemic changed these statistics. So what's your office look like? Does it look like this? Or is it all automated? Do you have multiple screens and multiple things? And when we look to the future will belong to those that are adaptable. How do you future-proof your career? By building on our role as most trusted and valued business advisor. It doesn't matter if you're an accountant or bookkeeper. That's what we're doing. We're building upon it. The human factor will never be outdated. There's always going to be someone working alongside a bot. Specialized workers. I think Tesla has something out there where he's putting a device in humans so you can communicate much more effectively with bots. So it's all about automation in the future. It's all about machine learning apps and knowing what goes on and connecting to a bank feed, connecting and pulling the information. Do not enter the data. Let the data come in yourself. And I'll finish up with, I think, 2 more slides. I like this particular slide, and I think this is a great one to look at. Automated data entry of bank and credit cards, automated entry of invoices. I've automated recording of sales. I've put ecosystem tools out here that can help you automate the platform. It's all about the platform and the ecosystem of getting involved. It means we can collaborate, whether an accountant, a bookkeeper, sales team. We're using the tools that bring us together to keep our culture going. So I strongly recommend you look at the tools. If you got any questions, I'm David_Bergstein@intuit.com, or hook up with me on Twitter and direct message me. I appreciate everyone being here wherever you are, and have a great day, and thank you very much.